For the next part of this assignment 3A, we're going to go back to our still life project and add a few things to it. So we're going to go to, once you have Inkscape open, go to File, Open, and then we're going to go back into our Section 2 assignment folder and open our Still 2 document, because we're going to add some things to it. So before we do make any changes, go ahead and we're going to save this as into our Section 3 assignment folder as Still 3. So go ahead and under File Names, type Still 3, then hit Save. And now we can go ahead and make our adjustments. And the first thing we're going to do with this Still 3 is we're going to add some layers, just like we did in the previous assignment. So under Layer, we want to open up our Layers panel. And we can go ahead and call Layer 1. If you double click to rename it, go ahead and type in Glass. And then add another layer called Decanter. Above current is fine. Go ahead and hit Add. Now we want to move our decanter to our decanter layer. So select your decanter. You can either go to File, Cut, or Control X, and then select the decanter layer. Go back to Edit. And I think I said File last time. I'm going to Edit, Cut, and then Edit, Paste in Place. And now our decanter is on our decanter layer, and our glass is still on our Layer 1, which we renamed to Glass. So we can go ahead, we're going to make changes to our glass layer first. So you can go ahead and lock your decanter layer so that we don't accidentally select it somehow. So with our glass layer in motion, have your glass selected. We're going to make some changes to it, starting with, instead of this flat top, we're going to add some shape to it. You should have read in this section about shape and form, about adding shape and depth to our objects. So with your glass selected, go up to the path on our menu bar and go to Object to Path. And then we're going to select our Nodes tool. So again, we went to Path, Object to Path, and then selected our Nodes tool. So now we're going to, while holding Shift, I'm going to click on both of my top nodes of the glass and hit Delete. Whoops, didn't want that to happen. So I'm going to undo that and reselect Shift and reselect those nodes again. And I actually should have used up under my nodes options, I want to use or select Delete Segment between two non-endpoint nodes. So I want to go ahead and choose that selection, and that deletes that line segment across the top of my glass. So at this point, your glass should look similar to this, and now we're going to select our ellipse tool to add a top to our glass. So I can always go back in and edit this, but I want to just add a nice ellipse to the top here from about edge to edge. Now, obviously I don't want a yellow top on my glass. That's left over from when I was creating shapes in the last video. So if I go back to my fill and stroke panel, I can make those changes. Or if you'll remember, I can copy this style and apply it to other objects. So if I hit copy and I say paste style, that's a quick and easy way to just copy my line style and my fill option to that shape. So now we really want to make sure that it fits our glass well, so we can zoom in and adjust our ellipse shape to fit the top of our glass just right. That looks pretty good. So now I'm going to zoom back out by clicking my zoom tool and holding down Shift and clicking to zoom back out. And now I'm going to work on my decanter. So I can go ahead under my layers panel. Oh, and you'll notice if you try and open a few panels at once, they stack on top of each other over here. So I'm done with my fill and stroke for now, and I'm done with my glass layer. So now I'm going to work on my decanter layer. So go in and unlock your decanter layer. And we're going to add liquid inside of this decanter. So I'm going to zoom in on my decanter by clicking my zoom tool and clicking and dragging over my decanter. And I'm going to select my ellipse tool. So with our ellipse tool, we're going to click and drag and make a circle in the widest part and make sure, okay, so I clicked and dragged just then and nothing showed up. That was because I was on the wrong layer. I need to have my decanter layer selected and then click and drag. We want it almost as wide as the widest part of our decanter base. So click and drag and make some adjustments. I'm going to kind of line it up just right there and then drag it out a little more. Right there looks good. So at this point your decanter should look similar to this. And I can even edit that a little more by going back up to Path, Object to Path, selecting my Nodes tool, and make sure your ellipse was selected. I'm going to actually delete this top node by just selecting it and deleting it, and then I'm going to work with these side nodes just to make a few more adjustments, because we're ultimately going to delete this top part, so I just want to make sure that this halfway portion and down measures right with the decanter. So it should be an even space, or as close as you can get it, all the way around between your liquid and your decanter. That looks pretty good. So now we want to go ahead and delete that top arc of our circle. So with our ellipse selected, we can go back and select our Nodes tool. And I'm going to hold Shift down as I select both my left and right Nodes tool. And then under my Nodes tool, I'm going to select again that Delete Segment Between Two Nodes button. And you'll see that that deletes then the top arc of our ellipse. So now we're going to take the ellipse tool again and add the top to our liquid. But first I want to zoom in just a little bit more because I really want to get these edges lined up just right. So I grab my ellipse tool and I start at one edge of my liquid and go all the way to the other. And I can either use my mouse to click and drag to get my ellipse just right, or you can use your arrows. Your arrow keys on your keyboard might work a little better for you. So get that ellipse just right at the top of our arc of our circle to make a nice looking liquid in our decanter. So now we're going to add some, now that we have liquid in our decanter, we're going to add some liquid to our glass here. So kind of an easy way to do this instead of starting from scratch, I can go ahead and copy my arc of my liquid in my decanter. Then I'm going to move that to my glass layer, unlock my glass layer first of all so I can make some changes to it, and then Control V to paste it near my glass. So I'm going to zoom in, and now I'm going to make some adjustments with this arc to get it to fit properly in my glass. So I'm going to have to make it more narrow and a little shorter and get that just about right in your glass there. And then I'm even going to go back to Path, Object to Path, and select my nodes here to make even more adjustments. So just move your nodes around so that it fits your glass just right. You need to leave a little space at the top because we're going to be adding an ellipse to this liquid as well, like we did with our decanter. And I'm a little picky when it comes to my graphic design work, so I'm going to make sure that I got just what I want here. And that looks pretty good for me. So now we're going to, like we did with the decanter, take an arc, or take the ellipse tool and add a top to our liquid. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, grab my ellipse tool, and add that to my liquid here. Zoom in just a little more. I want it just right here, and it looks like I might just have to rotate it a little bit to get, there we go, to get perfectly on that edge. I'll zoom back out and look that over, and those liquids look pretty good. Okay, so now I'm satisfied with my glass and satisfied with my decanter, so now we're going to add a bowl using some shape tools. So I need to add a new layer for my bowl. So go over here and click Add a New Layer. I'm going to call it Bowl and hit Add. And you'll notice it just puts it right above the layer that was currently selected. So we can rearrange layers by clicking on these arrows here. So move your bowl to make it the top layer. So for my bowl, I'm going to be using the ellipse tool. So make sure my bowl layer is selected and go and grab my ellipse tool. Now the directions say to make this first oval about the same width as our decanter. So I'm going to click up here and make an oval about the same width as our decanter. So that looks about good right there. And then I want to make another oval that's about half the size of my current oval. So I want to start about right here, and you don't have to worry about, it doesn't have to be right in the middle just right now. We're going to adjust that here in a little bit. So we can go ahead and move that over. Again, I'm not worried about it being centered up right now. I'm actually going to show you a trick to get that centered up perfectly. So now we'll go and grab our rectangle tool. So I have two ovals here, and now I'm going to add my rectangle tool. I'm going to start about right here and click down. Now you'll notice my rectangle tool still has my options from the last time I created a rectangle, and I curved the edges. So if your edges are curved, click the Make Corners Sharp button up here. That gives you the sharp corners back to your rectangle. So I have my rectangle and two ellipses drawn now as the first part of my bowl. So line these shapes up just how you want them. I'm going to scoop the base of my bowl up just a little bit here and get it until you like what the outline of your, so that right now we're creating the outline of our bowl. So kind of just move some shapes around until you like how it looks. So now I'm going to make some edits to my bowl. And I want to zoom in a little bit on my top ellipse to start with. So go ahead and we're going to select actually all three objects in our bowl. And under Object, we're going, or under Path, excuse me, go to Object to Path and select your Nodes tool. And select your top ellipse to start out with. So first we're going to delete this top node in the middle here. And it looks kind of goofy right now, but that's okay because we're going to get rid of that. And then click on your left node to start with. And we're going to pull these handlebars all the way down so that they're horizontal. So if you hold your Control key, you can get right at a perfect horizontal angle. And we want it so that we have a nice flat top across our bowl, like so. And for some of you, maybe your middle oval is peeking up above the top oval. If that's the case, go ahead and select that node and drag it down just a little bit so it's not peeking out over the top of our bowl. Now we're going to do some editing to the base of our bowl by selecting this rectangle and selecting the top right node, holding down Shift and give me 2 clicks in with your arrows, and then the top left node holding Shift, 2 clicks in with the arrows on your keyboard. Then we're going to click and drag out the base of our bowl so that it's a nice curve there at the bottom. And real quickly, make sure, get your selection tool, select all 3 parts of your bowl, go up to Object and down to Align and Distribute, and click the Center option. Then under Path, select Union, and that joins all my shapes together.